I'm Jim with Ride Snowboards, and we're here today to talk about the Jackson and the Anthem boots. The Jackson and Anthem boots share some features, and then there are some upgrades that are offered only on the Jackson. So we'll talk about what makes the boots similar, and then we'll talk about the upgraded features on the Jackson. The key thing we want to talk about when we talk about either of these boots is the BOA system. So the Anthem has your standard steel BOA cable. This is something we've been doing for years. It's a single BOA system on the outside. So you have a BOA in the middle, you turn the knob, and what it does is pulls the cable in and tightens the boot. This is a single BOA system. You'll have to go higher in price point to get a dual BOA system, but the advantage of Ride's single BOA system over all of our competitors is our proprietary technology in the closer system. Over the forefoot of this boot, we've actually invented a special lace loop that allows the cable to go from the left side back into the left side and the right side back into the right side over your forefoot. So what that does is as you're tightening that cable down, it pulls the boot around the forefoot and allows the boot to get consistently tight throughout the entire boot so that you can get a good level of tightness. A lot of our competitor boots do not, well, none of our competitor boots actually have the closer system because we have a patent on it and they can't use it. And what happens with their boots is you tighten it down and it gets super tight at the top and then it stays really loose at the bottom. Then you got to go ride it for 3 or 4 runs and then you're retightening it. Ultimately what happens is the top's too tight, it doesn't feel right in the side, and you just end up having to mess around with your boots all day. With the Ride boots, what I like to do is I like to tighten them up in the parking lot, walk to the lift, stand in the lift, and then give them one more like perfect tighten, and then you don't have to touch them for the rest of the day. You can obviously pop them off if you want a little bit of comfort when you're having lunch or riding up the chairlift and redo it, but it makes for a huge advantage over all other single BOA boots on the market. The other thing that the Anthem and Jackson share is a fully heat moldable Intuition liner. There is no one in the world of snowboard boots that is offering you a heat moldable liner at this price level. Intuition is 100% pure EVA foam, and you can take this into the store where you bought it or when you buy it, and they have a special machine that's going to shoot hot air into this boot. And what that does is causes this foam to expand, and then when you put your foot in there, the foam molds around your foot, giving you a custom fit. At this price point, you're not able to get that anywhere else. What'll happen is a salesperson or another competitor, another company will tell you, oh, our boots are heat moldable too, but it's not really heat moldable. What happens with their boots is they break in. But that takes time. They'll tell you, oh, you just ride it, 10 days and then it'll break in, or it'll mold around your foot. And there's some truth to that, but it's not really heat molding. You're just wearing it in as you wear the boot. So you spend the first 10 days with a brand new boot not enjoying the boot because you're trying to break it in. Or you can spend the extra money, get the Ride boot with the heat moldable liner and get everything all set up from day one, so you don't have to think about it. You also get a Phylon and rubber sole, so that Phylon's ultra lightweight. This is important with boots. You don't want to have a bunch of heavy materials down on the bottom of your feet as you're walking up and down the hill, going to the car, going through the parking lot, going to get lunch. But they do have a rubber pad in the middle of these, so that's pretty good. That's the Anthem. So now let's talk about what the upgrades to the Jackson are. Also features that closer system we talked about there, but we did upgrade this year on the Jackson to a TX cable. It's still the same BOA system, it's just the TX cable is a nylon rope versus the steel rope. The performance between the two materials is exactly the same. It does seem, if you're thinking about it, that steel would be stiffer than nylon, but in the way that this nylon is constructed, there is no noticeable difference when you're riding the snowboard. If you ride them blind and don't see what you're using, you cannot tell the difference. We were adamant when we went through our testing process to make sure that was the case. So the reason we shifted to that nylon cable, the TX cable, is because you can have so many different color options on the boot. It can match up with the boot, and it just looks really, really clean. So that's a huge upgrade, and it's definitely something you want to check out on the Jackson. The other thing on the Jackson, and this is probably the biggest upgrade that's available on this boot, is that you have the manual tongue-tied system. What that is this cable laces down through the boot and attaches to the tongue on both sides of the tongue, here and here on the inside. So when you pull that cable out, what it does is it pulls the tongue of the boot down and back and onto your foot and pushes your heel back into the heel pocket. And what that's going to do is prevent heel lift. Heel lift is the worst thing you can have in a snowboard boot, because once your heel starts moving around in the boot, it's really, really hard to initiate turns. Heel side turn probably feels fine because your weight's kind of pushing it back, but then you go to do a toe side turn and boom, your heel's lifting out of the boot, and it makes it really hard to snowboard. So by having this tongue-tied system on here, you actually get a better fit from this Jackson boot, which is only a single BOA, than some of our competitors with 2 separate BOAs. Because the way their BOA system works, they don't have anything to address that heel lift issue. This, you also get a little upgrade on the sole. This is a Phylon and rubber sole. You probably get a little bit more durability out of the Jackson, and still get that Intuition liner. So if you're looking for a pair of boots that you can kind of ride anywhere, do anything with, you don't want to break the bank, either of these boots would be really good options. But I think the feature set on the Jackson probably plays a little bit better if you've had heel lift issues in the past and you want to eliminate those. I think the Jackson would be a good upgrade. But honestly, either one of these is going to be great for ripping around the mountain and enjoying your winter.